Welcome to the Spicecast. This is Ben Job. I've got there's so many spicy ingredients in today's show. We got some keys, we got some saxophone, and of course some amazing jams from the Hunter Copeland band here. Here's the CD, The Boom Boom Room. You can see it right there. Please check it out this Friday. They'll be doing their CD release party at the new, and it's got to be improved. It's got to be beautiful because I have seen pictures. It's the Cafe Benaloo. I'm going to say it that way. I'm not sure if they just pronounce the X like Alabamians, but I'm going to say Benaloo. This Friday at 7 p.m., $10 gets you a CD over there, and that also goes to benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So we'll get into all that stuff very soon, but for now, the Hunter Copeland Band is going to take it away with The Boom Boom Room.
Yeah, and Ben, I'm kind of embarrassed now because I've been saying Cafe Benelux.
See, I really don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure you're right. All right, we're going to play one here.
guys, that was Hunter Copeland with the Boom Boom Room, the title track off the new album you can get Friday at Straight to Ale at Cafe Benelux, Benelux, whatever you want to call it. It's a secret absinthe bar, another amazing addition to Straight to Ale. If you guys haven't been there, find the Speakeasy. I don't know, if you check out our friends Know Huntsville, you might find a clue to their entrance to that thing. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Huntsville, and Hunter Copeland is definitely one of them. These guys, you may have seen them recently, some of them, as the Note Kickers over here, but they got an excellent tight group. And man, I've been dancing when y'all were sound checking, so I'm already excited for the next couple tracks we'll be doing. Do you guys want to say anything about the next track, Adam and the Bull?
This song is called Adam and the Bull. It's our tribute to Bobby Hendricks.
We're going to get a comment about that one. I feel it in my bones.
No.
Ready? Let's see.
the Bull from Hunter Copeland and his crew. I didn't ask, is it a crew? Is it a band? Is it a squabble? I don't know. What is there a name for y'all's adventure over here?
Well,
is it just the band?
Well, so it is the band. John and Scott and I have a band, the Note Kickers. I play in Juice with Shelly. I'm lucky enough to play with that guy. And this guy over here was out in front of your house when we got here, and
meet the roommates. That's how a lot of our interviews start.
I'm kidding. This is Bobby Blunt, and actually, I've always wanted to play with him, and somehow I talked him into this. So he's here with us too.
Oh man, I've heard a lot of the Note Kickers stuff. I was a big fan, but hearing the organ, it just adds a whole new layer, and I'm so glad it's like around in the music lately. And Bobby, so how long have you been with this outfit?
I guess about when Hunter was finishing up the album, I was he asked me to do. They were, I guess, almost done. So this would have been about 3-4 months maybe that I did some of those tracks, and then after that, the album finished, he asked me if I'd play some of the shows and stuff with him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's killer, guys. And y'all got a couple more for us. You've got Early Morning Get Down up next. Y'all want to take it away?
We do. I feel like I need to clarify. So for that last song, Adam and the Bull, I just want to make sure I'm understood here. So we have a buddy, Adam, who runs a sound company, and he oftentimes gets advice from people around town. And one of those people is Bobby Hendricks, and he always has a way of weaving advice into a cool story. And so that's kind of where that came from, Adam and the Bull. Just had to clarify.
Very cool.
What now? Huh? What? I forgot what we were doing.
Up
Yes.
next, Early Morning Get Down.
Early Morning Get Down.
All right, an early morning get down from Hunter Copeland and the folks here. And man, that was awesome. You can see them live Friday at Straight to Ale for the CD release party. Do not miss it. I believe it's just a $5 entry fee there, and it's at Cafe Benelux. Sharon Singletary, if you're on there, tell me which way you say it. Big ups to her for doing all the events over there.
Yes.
And have y'all played over there before?
Nope. Friday will be the first time.
All right, perfect. It's like so many good stages and so much to see over there. But we have one more track before we move on to the interview portion of the show. Thank you guys again for joining us online. Remember, you can join our Patreon. See, I got a button to show that link, but patreon.com/SpiceRadio Huntsville. And you can see us this Saturday at the camp. We're doing Joe Cagle live. So up next we have another track. Hunter Copeland will be doing Bob's Jam. Is this a Bobby Jam or is this a different Bob?
There's like 4 guys.
There's 4 Bobs.
A lot of Bobs. So we got Bobby Blunt. We have Bobby Taylor, who actually this kind of originated from when Shelly and I would do this song at weddings. Mm-hmm. And Bobby would always encourage us to play this one. So this became Bob's Jam. And then we also have a Bob Van Valkenburg who played a little bit of organ on some songs as well. So bunch of Bobs.
Plenty of Bobs.
Yes.
Plenty of Bobs. Well, y'all take it away whenever you're ready. This will be Bob's Jam. Bob's Jam from Hunter Copeland. Definitely see them Friday, Saturday at What am I saying? Friday at Straight to Ale. That's this Friday for the CD release party. Check it out, Cafe Benelux, and they will be there at 7 p.m. They have some more stuff to talk about coming up in just a second. Thanks again for tuning in, and keep it spicy. We'll be right back.
Hey Huntsville, I'm Tom, one of the founders of Spice Radio Huntsville, and we're on a mission to keep Huntsville spicy. But just how do we do that? Well, back in 2015, Spice Radio was nothing more than just a t-shirt and one big idea: to bring the huge variety of awesome local music to you, the Huntsvilleans. Over the years, we've grown to record hundreds of musical artists, produce live video and interviews, and connect thousands of fans to the best of up-and-coming art in the Valley. We've worked hard to cultivate a positive relationship with venues, artists, and private businesses. We hope anyone involved in the music scene can tell you some way that Spice Radio has helped them out. While we've achieved all of this with the help of countless volunteers, donated equipment, time, and space, we want to take Spice Radio to the next level and ensure that local musicians have a crew of excited and invested people at their back. The city of Huntsville has put a lot of money into looking at how they can grow a diverse and vibrant music scene, but Spice Radio has been on the ground working for years. As musicians ourselves, we know exactly how much work and coffee being an artist requires these days. But for less money than a cup of that fancy coffee, you get a direct line to the artist we interview and have a say at who gets the spotlight next. And a bonus, as a 501c3 organization, all your donations are tax deductible. If you contribute at least $5 a month, you get access to exclusive members-only tracks as well as live Q&As with our artists. If you commit to more than $15 a month, you can get a hold of tickets to our live events and even a chance to produce your own podcast with our help. We chose Patreon because with it, we can keep our members up to date week by week on the latest in Huntsville's music scene. It takes a huge variety of people to make a music scene great, but we know with your help, we can not only have a great music scene here in Huntsville, but we can keep it very spicy.
Welcome back. We're here with Hunter Copeland, live on Facebook and later on YouTube, later on podcast, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for coming in here and cramming into our. we almost got all of y'all. And John's always just floating off to the side. He's a pretty tall guy, anyways, player, right? Man. That's right. Just the backup.
Yeah, I'm a bass player. They put it in the corner.
It's okay.
Bottom. That's the bottom.
They've always got another gig to go to, anyways, right? That's how it goes. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Like, I'm excited about the show Friday at Straight to Ale. Y'all don't miss it at the Benelux, the Benelux. I don't know. We'll find out Friday, I guess. But this has been a minute in the waking, or in the making. How long has this CD been in the burner over there?
John, Scott, y'all think, when did we start? Like a couple years ago? Something like
Year
that?
and a half ago, at least.
Yeah.
Because a couple of these tracks, like Note Kickers, performed over here like a hot minute ago. Mm-hmm. And have they gone through a lot of changes since then, or?
Some of them did.
Mm-hmm.
There was probably, I think, 3 or 4 that we went in and kind of recorded pretty much the whole songs live. So we did them, and we knocked it out like in an afternoon and just kind of
one session.
did it all live, and so that was half of it. So those stayed pretty much.
Oh, nice.
Pretty much the same.
Was there a lot of prep work for that, or are you guys just so professional that you're just like, oh, it'll be...
Professional in the least bit.
No, I was actually going to make a point. It's like, y'all two were playing together, and you did a unison note, and it was like perfectly on pitch, and I was like, yes, this professionals tune. And they tune to the instrument that can only tune to itself, I guess. But it was on point. You guys are all awesome. But let me introduce people, or you can introduce yourself if you feel that way. But Scott, the drummer, do you have any other titles in the band?
No.
No,
Wait,
just
wait.
wait.
Do
Do
we
you
get
guys?
to answer?
Yeah. Why don't you guys introduce? He's the social media monster.
He's like the band manager too. The
Yeah,
band, you're the
okay.
band mother.
Okay.
The band mother.
The band mother. The den mother. Yeah,
He
I'll
did-
take that.
He did call in an
Band
airdrop
father.
earlier when we needed some mics. We were like, "Oh, we're short Tom mics," and he's like, "I've got calls to make,"
Yeah.
and they magically appeared. So Scott gets things done. Do you guys want to introduce Bobby over here?
Bobby Blunt.
The double B. Do you ever get called like the
new
BB?
guy? I'm the newest. I do sometimes. Yeah, that's I get called. I've got several.
You don't have to go
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm the still the new guy. I guess this is newest that they've all been playing together. So it's been fun to get in there, and they're pretty. They're pretty on point once first time I played with them. So it wasn't like, everyone figuring it out together. They sounded great first time I played with them.
Oh, for sure. Were you into like a lot of this instrumental music before, or do you have a background in other stuff, or?
Really all kind of music that I've played, but I love this kind of music, and I've actually, I feel fortunate, just kind of doing these things, just being a part of it, because I've even talked before. I've asked people I know, saying, hey, you guys want to get together and do this sort of thing. I'm primarily a guitarist, actually, but to be honest with you, I would not be able to pull it off as well, in my opinion. And I'm not, as Hunter does. So it's almost a really cool thing to be a guitarist and get to watch Hunter do it and be a part of it in that way.
For sure.
So I enjoy it. But yeah, I love a lot of that music, and so. And Scott's good about, we'll get to nerding out about different instrumental or jazz or funk stuff, and just different, and he's like, okay guys, let's
someone spotted our Rush t-shirt back here, and that was like got some cred, so that's good. We tried. Of course.
So Bobby also has an album coming out.
Oh, very cool.
When's that coming out, Bobby?
The pressure is on.
Finally, we're finally, like him. It's been doing a long time, and we're finally we're at the kind of finish line. I've said that for a long time, but he was making his record at the same time I was, and we were both making it, with Jim Cavander's label, and
awesome.
He was producing both. So I would
startlingly fresh.
Yeah,
I get all those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
And so I would, we'd go in there, and I was like, play me some Hunter stuff, and he's like, hey, I heard some of your stuff the other night. So we were kind of been simultaneously. I was a little, hurt he got his album out first, but that's maybe he started first. I don't know. We'll
You can't like steal all the ideas and use them. I guess you could, but then they'd already be out there. So
yeah.
But we have the Hunter Copeland over here too. The man with the name to run this whole album and this whole shebang. Did you ever think about this band as a different name? Did you ever have any prototype names that just got thrown out?
No, not right. I mean, so we had the Note Kickers, and it just happened. So we came together kind of from recording John's album.
Yeah.
And then I had some ideas, and John was like, I think you were the one that kind of gave me the idea. You ought to think about recording.
Right.
So it never had, I guess it was just the Note Kickers, and we just happened to do two of our own things. One day we're going to record a No Kicker CD, but
Oh yes, I look forward to that day.
We'll get there once we get all this other stuff out of the way.
But you can definitely tell, like, y'all have been playing together for a while too. Especially the rhythm section, like being on point. It always helps any auxiliary guys that come in. I know, because it's like you don't have to worry about where's that one at or any of that stuff. It does not be a problem.
We talk about that all the time. Is like, and you could answer this too, but I know when I'm playing bass. If the drummer, the drummer makes all the difference. So if the drummer is not where it needs to be, it's not a lot of fun to play bass. And then if the bass and drummer are both there, everything else is kind of
We all happy.
yeah.
And Shelly, who approached you about this outfit? Were you at the shows or?
This young man right here. Everybody that's in here, he don't talk to us about us being in here. One way or another. He got a connection to us all.
Perfect.
So Shelly and I play in Juice, so I see Shelly usually every Saturday for this time of year.
At least 2 times a week.
Yeah, y'all are busy. I mean, I've seen it up on the billboards and stuff, doing lots of shows. What do y'all enjoy playing together at Juice? Like, are there any? I know they play all sorts of music, right? It's like a huge variety.
When we start out, though, we usually start out with a little jazz, and the jazz flavor get us warmed up for the standards and everything. But I really love jazz.
Right. You brought all the saxes to the thing, so that's always awesome.
Hunter, that's how Hunter hooked up that album. He made me bring all my horns and play them all the time.
All of them? How many is all of them?
Because there's 3-part harmony on there, and he got me doing it.
And I can't tell the difference between them. I just think they look really cool.
It makes it
Get the medium small and the small.
Oh, he got one more that he want me to bring.
Yeah.
I feel like you should get a bigger chunk if you did like 4 or 5 tracks.
Nah, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
What about any particular track on the album that you were really digging, Shelly?
What was the name of the one we just got through doing?
Bob's Jam?
No, the other one. I love Bob's Jam.
Early morning.
Early morning. Yes,
Yeah,
early
yeah.
morning. I love that song.
Shelley played. So one thing about recording with Jim Cavender, you might think you're coming in to record one thing, and when you get there, it might be something else. And so when Shelley got there, he had some. You might can explain it better than me, but he had several parts, and so Shelley kind of made himself into a horn section. So he played the harmonies with himself, and
well, they had the parts written out for me to play.
There was no they. It was Jim Cavender.
Okay. Jim was there.
Yeah, I was there. I watched.
Jim know what he's doing, and he got a lot of patience because at first I had too much vibrato in there. And he just started all over again until we finally got it right.
Right. And with like so many layers too, your vibrato can
Vibrato was killer. I had to take them out on each track that we did.
Oh yeah, and just like kind of run over it. Well, I know Jim has recorded in some like all sorts of venues, and I know he's got an ear for rooms and stuff. Did y'all like do a lot of work just in the studio, or did you go out and like record in multiple places? Or
I think we did everything in his studio actually. Yeah. And it worked out great. I mean, it just I'm kind of getting to the point where I think the space is kind of secondary if you got somebody like him, and then the people making the music are all into it.
For sure.
The room, and I actually preferred it. Not that I've been in a lot of studios, but to like bigger kind of fancy places. To me, this is more comfortable and relaxed, and I liked it a lot better.
Well, sometimes you're in one of those like giant plexes with everybody's in their own little booth, and it's kind of like fish tanks or something. Yeah. And you're like, I see people having a heated argument, but I have no idea what they're saying because it's totally silent in here or something. You're like, what's going on over there? It's like they'll clue me in a second, maybe. But they're like, don't tell him. But of course, we have John Onder over here in the corner with so fast. So many bass tones. It's so good, man. I'm just gonna say, amazing work. But were you always into like playing more than a 4-string bass, or did that come like later on?
No, I've had one forever. That's the only bass I have.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So you know it well. Is there any like good notes or bad notes on it? Each bass has their own.
It's
pretty flat all the way across.
Sometimes I can manage to find a lot of bad notes.
This called jazz.
I got a knack.
That's what I say. If you mess up, just say it's jazz, dude. It's all jazz. Well, speaking of jazz, like Jim Cavender did a lot of his early work on jazz tunes and stuff. Are y'all familiar with any other stuff he's done? I'm pulling a blank, but I don't know.
I like Trio El Camino a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't know, like, I didn't know that band very well, and then we saw them play somewhere we played. Anyways, I was like, oh my gosh, he's awesome band. And so from there, I kind of listened to some of his other stuff. But it's great.
The Rolling Jazz stuff is great.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jazz Review, and then he used to play in the Jungle 20-something years ago, and man, he's always been awesome.
Oh yeah, and he's been around a minute. He knows all the good guys to call, I'm sure, for an album. But the first track we're going to talk about, the Boom Boom Room, the title track. Is there such a thing as a Boom Boom Room? Is it named after a place?
Well, so where I saw it, I was in Tuscaloosa in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I guess restaurant / bar. I don't know what you call it, but at the back of the room there was this door that was closed, and there was this guy sitting next to it, and above was a sign that said the Boom Boom Room. And so, of course, I had to walk over there, and the guy let me look in there, and it was this kind of nasty looking, it was a college kind of hangout.
Kind of nasty, not fully nasty.
Yeah, right. So it's this big concrete room filled with speakers, and, after like 10 o'clock at night, they go in there, and I don't know, I guess they have a DJ or something, but
I thought you meant they try to get the guy was too drunk. They just push him in the boom boom room. It's like just let him soak it into bass for a little while, and then he'll come staggering out, go straight home.
Maybe that is.
Well, that's cool. Was it like techno in there? Like what goes on in the boom boom room? Do you know?
So I'm old, so I was there before anything was going on there.
Yeah.
But probably that's what it was, and I just thought it sounded cool. Now. I was at work the other day, and this guy, we were talking about it, and he said, "Hey man, the Boom Boom Room, that sounds dirty." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so we Googled it. So
it's kind of like the bathroom to some people, to put it lightly.
Yeah, so I won't go into that, but I didn't really think about all that. I just thought it sounded cool.
Well, thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
You might get a weird fan base, but as long as they buy CDs,
Yeah.
it's successful, right?
Right.
But y'all got Straight to Ale booked up this Friday. Don't miss it. That'll be a good show. How long is the show? I know y'all are starting at 7. Are you going all night in 2 hours?
A couple hours. Yeah.
All right, very cool. And I wanted to ask you about the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation that some of the money's going to, and how you got started with that.
Yeah. So when I started this project, I knew that it was going to cost a little bit of money, and I kind of wanted to make sure that if I used that money on something that was sort of selfish for me, that I also wanted it to kind of have a purpose besides me.
Mm-hmm.
And so probably, this is terrible, but probably 3 or 4 years ago when my daughter was younger, my youngest daughter was diagnosed with diabetes.
Yeah.
And it just changed our whole life. I mean, of course, especially her. And so that was the first thing that kind of jumped in my mind is, hey, if we could do something for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, that's what I wanted to do. And so that's what we're going to try to do. And it really is a cool... they're making progress with stuff that's going to help people soon, not like way off in the distance, like people that are alive now, like my kids.
And if you get something disease treated early, it's going to help them down the line too.
Mm-hmm.
And
you had to get started somewhere, and the money that's coming in now, even though it might not help those now, but the future is still coming, and so you got to get started just to be able to accommodate the future.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's I don't know numbers or anything, but I know it's been a huge uptick in juvenile diabetes all across the U.S. specifically too.
Yeah, especially so. There's type 1, which is juvenile diabetes. Especially type 2 is bumped up really high as well. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And so, is your daughter a big fan, or she
hates
she
it.
just tolerant? She's like, "Oh, Dad's playing guitar again. I'm gonna go watch YouTube in the yard or something."
So we just moved into a very much smaller house, and so when I practice, my whole family kind of has to listen to it, and then so to get in the car and then to put on something like that, they're kind of like, we've heard this already. Can we so it's a little
this
bit
is
of
the
that.
good version. This is the shined up version.
But we tried to pick out some cover songs to do Friday that.
Okay.
I'm kind of a closet Usher fan.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not.
Don't look at Shelly.
I'm not ashamed.
I'm not ashamed either. I am not a closet fan.
Anyways.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're throwing in some songs that people will know as well as our own songs because we are going for like a couple hours, so we kind of want to mix it up.
Right,
So.
for sure. Well, for those of you guys on the Facebook, thanks for joining us. For those of you on the podcast, enjoy the Boom Boom Room from Hunter Copeland and his crew here. And the next one, Adam and the Bull, we had to do some cleanup after that one, just to clarify some mentions.
Yeah.
But how old is that track?
Not old. I mean, it was one of the later ones we did, so we came up with it in the last couple years.
Mm-hmm. And John and Shelly both get to go a little crazy on this one. Is it always these two guys, or does it just kind of depending on how y'all feel?
So so that song I came up with the first part, and then in the second part it was kind of empty. So John wrote a melody to that. So he wrote that song. I mean that part kind of made that whole section jump out. So it was really cool.
That's cool, and I like the way y'all play because you really do give space for each player. Which, I mean, 5-piece band, it can get raucous, especially using electronics, and you got Scott's powerhouse playing, you know, so you gotta like watch out for each other. You do really well on that. But were you always focused on the instrumental music? Do you guys do any like vocal songs or?
If you heard me sing, I mean, we play in bands that do vocal music.
He can sing,
Oh yeah,
but at the same time, he's a better guitar player. But he can sing, though.
so keep it real here.
Yeah.
It's good.
His power is in his playing.
I like that.
You don't want to distract him, right?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want to distract his
Don't take
guitar
away
player.
from the power.
Singing just gets in the way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I think we all play in bands that do vocal music. I just thought it'd be fun to try to figure out how to make songs interesting without vocals. And I found as I get older that lyrics are harder and harder to write for me. What do you think? Is that just me?
Yeah, well, they're harder for me to hear. I mean, this is my hearing. I can't hear people talk, but yeah, not necessarily for me. I think as I get older, just because I practice it more and more, you know, and I'm doing it. But
Sure.
But I think because of that, because, like especially as a singer and a lyricist, it's refreshing to not have to worry about those things.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Right,
really
right.
Sit down and you can really concentrate on the, you know, kind of, and especially in a band like this, the dynamics of everybody playing
Yeah, yeah.
together, and which is great. So.
Do you hear lyrics behind any of the songs y'all play together though? You ever get tempted?
No, I don't.
They're
yeah.
full enough as it is.
Yeah, I don't guess I tend to think like that much. So you know, even for me, sometimes I'll hear melodies before I'll, you know,
So it kind of goes the other direction.
yeah, and then push it together. So yeah, these are his. So I guess, yeah, I get just like it's like a vacation. I don't know about that,
Loving
but,
it.
That's interesting you asked that because we saw Paul
Gilbert,
Gilbert like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, the National-
So he was doing instrumental music, but almost before several songs, he would sing like, "Hey, this is how this." Like some of them had actual lyrics,
Lyrics, yeah.
but he just
Interesting.
played them on guitar instead of singing them. So
Oh, nice.
I would have never thought of.
And they were hilarious. He's awesome.
He's got some funny
sure.
songs. I mean,
very
he's really
good.
well
Yeah,
written.
they're full of fun.
I guess it comes through like the comedy comes through with like the notes after that. But,
Exactly right.
well, Bobby, I wanted to ask you a little bit. Did you find a certain sound that worked really well with this band, or are there any like certain
Yeah,
keys patches you go after for this kind
It
of music?
does. It takes, you know, just having listened to it, and you know, especially I guess someone we were recording it. A lot of times, especially with this music, since there's no vocals, everything's about instrument. It's about a lot of times to me staying out of the way, and so you know, since everything I'm doing is organ, you just kind of use the drawbar settings to, you know, and I kind of do it, you say on the fly, but I kind of know, you know, all my drawbar settings enough to know he's like, okay, well this is going on, so I'm going to back this up here a little bit, and again, you've got, you know, volume pedal. So if you think when things get more intense, you can push that, and you can get the Leslie kind of moving fast. You know, it sounds like that. So I do try to think very. To be honest with you, I probably think about that sort of dynamic as much as I do. Sort of the notes and everything, because the way just the way I view the organ. I mean, if you're an organist like John Medeski or Jimmy Smith or something, that's one thing. But for a lot of times, the organ is such a textural. It just has this beautiful textural thing, and so a lot of times for me, it's not about kind of showing chops. It's like really just kind of elevating and getting everything else off the ground, because the songs are already great, and there's always so much great interplay already going on. You know, so.
I don't know why, but like when I hear organ, I think of Southern music too. I don't know if it's directly like linked in any way or if there's proportionally a link there, but I always like feel like the Dozens was a band from around here, and they always had B3 player. I think it was B3, but it's like it just has a Southern texture to it, which is cool for me. But Scott, I want to ask you about your wardrobe here. You've got a designer.
I do.
Shirt. I was just wondering.
He's had it on for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he never takes
I
this
just
one
got
off.
it. I just got it.
Is it signed by the artist or is it?
This is so since I became a father, my wonderful wife and my children have collaborated every year to give me a shirt that incorporates their footprint or their handprint.
Okay.
And so this is this
Oh,
year's...
I see it now.
Yeah,
oh my
this
gosh.
is this year's edition. So I have...
upside down there.
This is my son. And the cool thing about this is they still do it. He's 24. Mm-hmm. The middle one... Let's see, I'll get this.
I was like, it's pretty good line art. I mean, this is some skills.
But the youngest one is almost 18, but they still go to the trouble to do this for me.
That's
every year,
awesome.
so.
That is so cool.
So yeah, this is my favorite shirt right now.
I thought they were decapitated when I first saw that. I thought it was like running
the bloody heads of Star Wars.
Maybe jellyfish, like an under the sea Star Wars theme.
Yoda, yeah, he's got his eyes closed, so you could go either way there.
I never thought that.
It's where Bobby's brain is here.
I don't see it the same as you.
That's funny.
But for those of y'all listening to the podcast, check out Adam and the Bull. The next one, early morning get down. It seems like there is a motion to signify this song. We won't do it on the air, but I saw John doing the motion that can only be the early morning get down. He's acting coy. But when do y'all put this in a set? Is this cool things off? Is this like in the middle of the set, or where do you throw this one?
I'd have to go look.
You got to
at
ask the band manager. He said,
I don't think we have put this one in a set, haven't we?
I don't remember where it fell.
I don't either.
Right before the solo.
Yeah.
Where I play Eruption.
So anywhere, really. Any time is a good time for an early morning.
You just gotta smoke
down.
a cigarette after.
Of course. That's a great.
The whole song just changed.
I mean,
It's a family show, right?
the birth rate is down. Y'all got to make more music. I think is how that goes there.
I do think you have to be careful probably about placing that, because the chorus is so epic, and she's got that great disco groove to it, and like you don't want to come off on something super like it'd be, kind of a letdown after it gets moving.
Assistant band manager.
You've been promoted. Bam, right there.
2 days,
You're hired.
I don't know how these guys feel about it, but it seems like a good system to me. It works. It works. But yeah, and I was gonna ask you guys before we play this next track. Is there any one piece of gear that like changed the game for you? We'll start over here with Scott, the guy who hits stuff for fun. Scott, is there anything that you wanted for a long time and you finally got, or like you just once you got it you're just like, yes?
No, I guess no, not really. Not really. I mean, I finally got a decent drum kit. I've not always been a drummer.
Okay.
So I was a rhythm guitar player and a bass player for many, many years in some bands in college and even back here for a little while in the mid-90s. I always wanted to be a drummer, so I started playing drums kind of in earnest about 15 years ago. Started playing with these guys about 10 years ago at church.
What's the kit you started on?
Oh, it was some trash. It was like, hey, honey, the kids need a drum kit for Christmas. And we could get this one and they could learn to play it. And they didn't. I was the only one that played it. But no,
Sneak attack,
it's I've changed the setup a little bit over the years and found some. This is really kind of the most comfortable setup I've had. Really and truly, probably the biggest thing that I found was the sticks that I use.
Oh, really?
I experimented a lot with the sticks, and I found they're Steve Jordan Thick Firth signature sticks, and they're just kind of the right diameter and length and everything. It took me a while to find them, but they're very comfortable playing those.
Heck yeah! How many pairs do you have now? Are you one of those? I've got one pair, or
I just
is it
broke.
one of those? I have 20?
When we were warming up. I broke a brand new stick when we got in here, but I don't keep many.
Right.
I play them until they wear down too much, and I can't play them anymore. But I don't keep stockpiles of them now.
All right. Well, Bobby, you're up next. You got any secret sauce?
Yeah, not necessarily pertaining to this. As I said, I'm primarily a guitarist, and I am kind of a gearhead. But I'm one of these guys. I was talking to my friend about it the other day. I hate everything. I'm not saying I hate everything, but everything I own is just either broken or it's got this thing. And he was like, "Why don't you get rid of it?" I'm like, "Well, because I know how it works. You just hit it 3 times, and then I know.
Yeah.
Like even the organ out there, it starts distorting for no reason. I have to like switch it, but I just know it, and I just can't."
I know you were explaining your pedal, and I definitely did not understand.
Well,
I have to admit now, but it's like it worked out in the end. So
yeah, well, but a few years ago, I bought a Martin HD28. I play guitar around town with my friend Neve Weinberger, and she had one for years, and I was always playing it at her house. I was like, I just, and it's one of those things where, and I've had some acoustics in it, but it is one of those guitars where, you know, whether just writing or playing, it's one of those. It sounds so good, and just the vibrations feel so good. But playing it, like you want to play, like you go play it. Like you get in a bad mood, and you're like, I've got to go play my guitar. It's not even, and so I'd probably say my Martin is probably my most.
Yeah.
You know.
Does it make you want to sing? Has it got the right? Whoops.
Yeah, well, completely. Yeah, and a lot of times Martins. You know, of course, they're like bluegrass and the people that loud things like that because they're meant to kind of cut over fiddles and banjos and everything.
Yeah.
But I think those have a great kind of tender quality to them. Like a lot of times people like Gibson Doves and Songbirds for that thing. But I'm a singer, and so I sing with it constantly. Yeah.
Very cool. I don't think any instrument competes with how much songwriting has gone on the acoustic guitar. It's got a pretty good history.
Yeah.
Well, next up, Hunter, what we got?
So I've always will have a guitar, sell it to get another guitar, and so over the years I've had Strats and just all kinds of different guitars, and I always end up back with a Telecaster. And so I'd say for me that would be it. It just seems to me it's just it seems so basic, but at the same time you can get a lot of different sounds out of it somehow. And
well, especially if you're using digital pedals and all this stuff, there's so much you can do, especially if you know how it works already. You know.
Yeah, I just like the simplicity of it. For me, it just they're real nice. Any Telecaster.
All right, Shelly, you got any
Telecaster?
No, not Telecaster.
any piles of horns that you
wish
prefer
I
the
had
other piles?
I know he's got at least 2 or 3.
I got 3 horns that I love. I truly love playing. The soprano is the one that actually is the person that actually can go anywhere I want to. And when I got it, I felt like I completed my arsenal. But then Bob came over here talking about a baritone saxophone. In my mind, I got to figure out how I'm going to get this baritone saxophone, how I'm going to work it in. But the soprano, I always wanted to. It was that's the skinny one, the long one. But it was the one that, it's not Kenny G. Why are you in my conversation?
John Coltrane, right?
John Coltrane on the cover of my favorite things. He's playing it.
Yeah. It's such an expressive horn that when I get it, I like to show it out.
Yeah,
it's
no
the
doubt.
one thing I can. It takes me out of my shyness. When I go on the soprano, I like to act a fool. Pretty much.
Well, can you bend on that one like pretty good, or is it like?
I pretty much make the notes bend, but it start out so high you don't have to do much of nothing.
Right,
Play.
it just
And know
blasts
where you
through,
got.
right?
Yeah, it's an attention horn. You play it.
Attention horn.
That's different than other horns?
No, the other one is blends in.
Okay.
But when I get on the soprano, you notice I'm always on top of everybody.
It sounds good.
Well, I'm definitely pro Barry, but I feel bad for what do you call it? Enabling people to buy giant instruments, but
You're bassist. You're biased with that.
right. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, I'm stuck in a van. Why shouldn't everybody else have to drive a van?
If you go walk around with a baritone saxophone, you're gonna find very few places to play it to begin with. And then you got your love for it better be strong because it's just like carrying around this bass right here.
Yeah.
It's gonna occupy a lot of space and a lot of your time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's not cheap, like getting into buying them or just servicing. Like
it's nothing cheap about none of them.
Yeah.
Whether it's small or big, the word cheap does not come into play.
The reason he says this is me is I have a 13-year-old son that plays saxophone, and he kept saying, I want to get into baritone. And I was like, that seems like a weird thing to be wanting to get, especially at your age.
Yeah.
It's like, no, man, I've heard about, I got to have. And so I'm
a
always
saxophone as tall as me.
Yeah, I'm always asking Shelley like advice, and I'm like, I should get a baritone. And Shelley's like, what's a baritone? let him see.
Let it out baritone.
Yeah, he loves it. He played it for the first time. His saxophone teacher to go over there. She's like, well, here you can play. And of course, the wall starts shaking because of that sound. He's like, yeah, that's
I'll train my lungs.
He carry it around. If he get in the marching band, he's gonna get he'll get an alto.
Change immediately after the first thing.
I did the baritone in the jazz band. Alto is the one that I went through most of my life schools. Yeah.
But John's a one bass guy. But is there any other tools you pull out of the box or changed it up for you?
Well, I haven't really thought about it, but it's funny because I have one bass and one acoustic guitar, and they have something in common. And I just thought about this. The bass, I never thought I could acquire that bass, and because of Mark Torstensen at the Fret Shop and how genuinely nice a person he is, he made that happen for me, and guess where I got my acoustic.
Awesome.
So this is not a commercial for the Fret Shop, but because of the integrity of the owner and just good small business, just taking care of people. But that's what both those have in common, and if it weren't for that, then I wouldn't have either. So I love both my acoustic and my six-string bass.
Did he see something in you to make it possible for you to have that bass?
It's a long story, and I don't want to waste the whole podcast. But he knew I wanted it, and someone else had it. And when it came in, it took over a year.
Wow.
And he called me and said, I know that you're not real happy with the bass that you own. How about you just swap it straight out for this one?
Wow.
And it's my dream.
Did you start
guitar.
dancing?
That's huge.
Yeah, and it was, nobody else would do this. Everybody else would just say, how can I make some more money?
Right.
But he was just, and it just.
And I remember when you got that, and you have not had another bass.
No,
How long has that been? I mean,
at least 20 years. Yeah.
Nice. Can you tell us the type and everything?
It's a Modulus graphite six-string bass. Modulus is out of business.
Oh, okay.
It's a really nice Modulus.
So is the graphite, is that the body of the frets? Or
the whole neck is graphite, so it just doesn't really, it's very steady. It doesn't change with the temperatures.
Yeah,
it's very much.
That's huge down here. I mean, everybody who lives in the South knows about playing in the South.
That's Florence player. We know quite a bit about the changing of that temperature.
Yes, but up next, y'all are about to hear Early Morning Get Down. We're going to talk a little bit about the Friday show, the CD release, August 2nd, if you want to count numbers for 2 days. But these guys will be over there at 7 p.m. Are tickets available at the door, or how's that stuff work?
you can come to the door, and it's a $5 cover charge, and then if you want a CD, we'll have those. And again, they're going to be $10, and that $10 goes straight to JDRF.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to play, like I say, a couple hours. We're going to try to mix in some songs people know, and food, drinks, cool atmosphere. Halfway decent music. So, anyways, I'm hoping it'll be a good time for everybody.
Great music.
Yeah, it's Straight to Ale. I mean, they've got so many venues there now. It's really cool. I mean, you can walk around Straight to Ale for a whole day or something. Or Clinton Avenue, at least. You've got other stuff going on there, too.
And this looks like a really cool room that they're starting. It opens up, so depending on the weather, they'll open it up to the beer garden outside. And
very nice.
Looks like it'll be real nice. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again for coming in and talking with us. It was a lot of fun, as always. Hope to see you soon in any form, whichever bands y'all bring in. You're all great players, so it'll be fun. But before we go, y'all want to sound off with your favorite spices before we go? Like most used, MVP, whatever. We're gonna start over here. He's thinking hard, but make put him on the spot.
Come back to me.
Okay.
I'd go
Spice.
basil. Are you talking about real spice?
Yeah, I'm talking about real spices.
I'd go basil, especially if I grew it at home. I also like crushed red pepper. Does that count as a spice, or is that more
Yes.
like okay.
People come in here and they say pepper or just salt, and we're like, fair enough. I mean, it's
That'd be my two.
all right. Who's up next? Who's the spicy?
Posh Spice.
Posh spice. This is pretty good.
Just hot sauce.
Just hot sauce. Any hot sauce? Does it have to be a certain color? Does it have to be is it like a red, the red stuff, or the green
I
stuff?
cannot handle no green.
No food sauce. See, I knew there was something to
hot
it.
sauce. That'll work for me.
Tabasco?
Yeah, Tabasco, as long as it's not green.
Texas Pete, or just?
Do they have
I
green
do not
Tabasco?
have no attention for the Texas Pete.
All right.
Okay, that's not green anyway.
That's
not
clear
red.
sauce. I think
That's-
it's like
know.
got its
I
own
want
like
it red so that you know it's hot sauce. Okay.
right. There's something in there.
Yes.
Except just like vinegar.
Something about the green one. Just I don't. It's hot, but it's something about it. It's not hot sauce.
We found Jelly's weakness. Don't bring him the green sauce.
Maybe no hot sauce. It's
I
green.
know what to get you for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
Bobby, what's up?
I think and I haven't seen it recently. I gotta find an order online, but McCormick makes it sometimes. But it's like Saigon roasted cinnamon, and it is so great.
You put that in a savory dish or like a noodle dish?
Not
or
normally.
like,
You would,
put it in
you
that?
usually put on like a sweet potato or something like that.
Okay.
But it is a great. It's just a
It's
great,
a
especially during the
vegetable.
holidays. You
Yeah.
can do things. And then I guess another one I would have to maybe mention is smoked paprika, which is kind of a secret ingredient I use a lot when I'm cooking, and it kind of goes along, like just adds a great depth to all kinds of dishes.
That chili.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chili,
yeah.
it's great. It
like-
gives it the illusion almost that it's been cooked longer
Right,
than
right.
it has. So
That's my only regret with Spice Raid is we've been around for like 5 years and we haven't had a chili cook-off yet. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we really doing?
Next year.
Yeah, it's coming. Y'all are entered
Can
too.
we enter?
Yeah, each band is going to have to bring a thing of chili, I guess. It'll be like a battle of the bands, but it'll just be about chili,
Mine will be
you know?
vegetarian cheese.
There-
That's all right.
Hey, it's all good.
Okay. A lot of hot sauce in it though.
Oh, yeah.
Not great.
No thing
Nothing
green.
green.
No green. What about you, Scott? You figured out
I
anything?
think I'm gonna go with cinnamon, just basic, not this special
Not
Saigon.
Yeah, come on, man.
Burnt.
I'm talking Walmart, Great Value, Kroger, Cost Cutter.
What about a cinnamon stick?
Just a little
You chew on
ground
the
cinnamon and a little sugar.
What about one of them cinnamon stick that you
and
just ran down?
sprinkle that over some toast and butter. And,
Oh, okay.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with cinnamon, especially straight cinnamon,
That's
because
true.
it's so easy.
Always
You're
cut
like,
it.
this is plenty of cinnamon, or
Always
this is
cut it
a
with
little.
sugar.
Watch it.
With sugar. Okay.
The Southern ethos for cooking. Just put sugar in it; it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time on the Spicecast. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you Friday night at Straight to Ale. Y'all want to say our tagline? Keep it spicy with me.
Sure.
After 3, you ready? Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Keep it spicy.